hobby. Yep. I'd like to say we have an exciting show planned for everyone tonight, but I don't think that's really true.
Yeah, I don't know how much stuff's going on. Like, you'd think there'd be a lot of excitement with the new edition and all that, but not being ones to play the games that much, it's, not as
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
I think if we actually played Warhammer 40,000, we'd probably be a little more excited. Or even if we thought we wanted to buy the new boxed game, I think that is also
Yeah,
true.
thinking
So,
about what we'd want to do with it or whatnot.
because I
But
guess
yeah,
that's one thing that's interesting. This version of the game is like a limited or a semi-limited printing, correct?
yeah,
And I mean, they seemingly fumbled that, at least for a while, with it all selling out and people being upset. And then maybe it was even today, made an announcement that if you weren't able to get one, they would make one for you. So, like, people can still, at least for some time, order one and maybe it'll take longer to get. But so that's, I guess, good to hear. But, like, if I remember was it called Dark Imperium? Was that the
yeah, I
last
think so.
edition? So that I don't was that always available, or was that also just
I think it could have always been available, although to be honest, I don't
like,
remember.
for one thing, it had the full rule book in it, but it didn't have like a special cover or something. If I remember correctly, when it was released, you could also just go and buy the hardbound rule book if, say, you didn't want any of the other models and stuff.
You can do that with this too.
You can. Okay, so then it's about
Yeah,
the
you
same.
can't. Well, you can't get it digitally though, which I think you could.
Oh.
Like for the last edition, you could, buy the physical one separately, or the box, or also get
Mhm.
the digital. Because I mean, I probably would have purchased the digital one. I mean, or maybe it wasn't up when I last looked, and yeah, I don't think it is, which I think is
Okay.
kind of weird. Because all their Psychic Awakening books they would put up and all that on digital. It seems odd that they wouldn't want to cash in on this too. You know what I mean?
Maybe maybe there's just like a lead time or something. They want everyone to rush out and buy the physical stuff. And stuff
Yeah,
like, um, hey, hey Dave. But stuff like the more recent books that were printed, like, not everyone goes and buys them. So, like, I don't.
yeah. I doubt it would affect the sales a whole lot, but it just sort of surprised me because that would have been like the only way I feel I would have sort of partaken
Mhm.
of the new edition. Because just to look at the artwork and read over the lore and see if they've kind of added new things, that sort of thing. But
Yeah. Hey, Meandering Shade.
yeah, nice to have you here. Yeah, but yeah, so it's interesting to me that they don't just have the digital one right away. I mean, I guess there's also a chance that they just weren't ready to do that. I don't know,
Well, so one
but
thing
that
that
also seems weird.
since at least for a while people were angry that they thought they weren't able to get a copy of the game, there was at least some talk where people were speculating that the amount of the game they had was a lot lower than what maybe they had wanted because of, like, the pandemic and stuff like that. So who knows? Who knows how much that affected the release of the game? And because I wonder, for it being printed, like most of the plastic models and stuff that Games Workshop puts out now, they're made in, like, the United Kingdom, in England, correct?
I think they are.
But then I know, like, at least some of the printed, like, paper books and stuff are still in China. So, like, it would be interesting to know like how much of this box game was made and where it was made. But I mean,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I don't. Or I kind of feel they at least used to do a lot of the printing in China, but maybe they stopped that too.
I think over time, I think it's sort of changed, which makes
Yeah,
sense.
but yeah. So I don't know, like, because I feel, yeah, to get excited for it, I would need to be able to get the rule book. Because I mean, sure, they released the just the basic rules, but as I kind of mentioned last week, like I didn't read them then. I still haven't read them. Like just reading the few pages of core rules without really all the additional context of how to even make an army and the
Hmm.
missions that you can play, like, isn't that interesting. Admittedly, adding all that, I don't know if that would have made a huge difference anyway, but the
Yeah,
fact that they made it.
Greg's interested in it. It looks like it.
In what? I wasn't even listening.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was just making fun of the fact that none of us were super interested in the new edition and the rules.
I was meandering Shade's basement was flooding. I guess I would say yesterday, and was thinking about that. Says it's cleaned up, dried up.
Yeah, that's rough.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I know at my parents' house, or our parents' house rather, whenever it rains pretty hard, water's pouring into the basement. But it's an unfinished, unfurnished basement with like concrete block flooring, so like it's not like carpets being ruined or something.
Yeah. But regardless, no one wants water in any part of there
no,
where they live.
no, you don't. But I mean, I guess sort of back to being excited or not excited about it. I feel I'm still at least somewhat interested in the combat patrol stuff, which I think is for around 500 point games. And just to see like what they've done with that and how it relates to Kill Team, and if it seems like they're going to try to focus on that and stop doing Kill Team, just sort of how that would play out, as well as their Crusade rules, which are sort of like a campaign system in which you gain experience and get better and stuff like that. Like I feel those two things seem like could actually be interesting and impart something new that could be good.
Yeah,
But
I
again,
hear
they're
that.
only in the main book, which I guess admittedly there have been a bunch of YouTube videos of people looking through those books. So I mean, I guess if I was really interested, I could figure that out, but
Yeah.
that hasn't been me. Well, I don't know. Maybe we should just talk about our hobby related stuff and
Yeah,
we could go
hobby
into.
happenings.
Yeah.
I guess as a surprise to maybe no one, I am still working on the Iron Snake Space Marine. Um, I've gotten a little. I got more time this week to actually work on the Marine than last week. So the Marine's pretty close to being finished. Most of my time was spent doing like smaller details, like finishing up the leather work and doing some of the freehand painting, particularly on the two shoulder guards of the Space Marine, and that I feel it went pretty well. It's all kind of a little tricky and finicky. We're having issue. Are we having issues again? No, all kind of tricky with centering everything properly and getting stuff to look relatively straight and neat. But overall, I think it went pretty well. I know, particularly for his right shoulder guard, which has the arrow and the little number. I for a while was considering just using a decal to get the initial shape and then like paint over it. But I didn't. After a while, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna try and paint it and see how it goes. And overall, it's obviously not perfect, but I think overall it looks pretty convincing.
Yeah, no, I think it looks good. Like at least from even just slightly far back, I feel the 5 that looks like a decal.
Yeah, no, I think it looks
really
pretty
straight.
solid.
I mean,
So
I have done very little decal work.
Yeah, it looks
So-
like a decal from. That's
it's been a
I-
long time since I've done any of that.
And I feel any future stuff I'd want to use some like decal solution and whatnot. I don't really have any experience with that yet, so that's something I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, I recently got
with.
some of the EMEA like decal solution, and we'll see. I'll find something or some model to practice on. But overall, I was pretty happy. And then aside from that shoulder guard, I also painted the.
The slithery boy.
Yeah, the snake. The iron snake. And for this I looked around a little to try and figure out. I wanted to sort of figure out what the head of the serpent would look like, and I just went around on Google looking for like vipers and other serpents and stuff, and sort of sketched out the general shape of a head of some venomous snake. Except
Yeah, it looks good.
the little source material and stuff that I found online and the official stuff, I wasn't super keen on what the face of the viper looked like. So I modified it a little.
Yeah, no, this one actually, it looks like a venomous snake, so that's cool.
It's a little hard to see here, but if you zoom way in, he actually has 2 little fangs.
Actually, nice to have you here, Vox.
Oh, cool.
I don't seem she's here on YouTube, and I don't know if the message has yet popped into the.
I don't see it yet, but it'll probably arrive eventually. Oh, but yeah, so I also, for this little model, I used some of the brass meshing from Aber. And I quite like that. I think it adds kind of a neat additional element to the bases. And
it adds some nice color to it as well, I think.
Yeah, I feel it in some ways like declutters some of the Necromunda bases, and at a glance you might not even realize initially that it's just one of those Necromunda bases. And one thing so he's on a 32mm base. There aren't too many Necromunda models, at least in the plastic ones, that have the 32mm bases. I think this one was taken from one of the Goliath models. For them, I was surprised, or maybe it was... I was surprised to see that there are only 3 different variants of the 32mm base, which I thought was a little weak.
Not many. Yeah, no, that's not so good.
But, I mean, whatever.
Not so good.
Overall, they're nice bases. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I still have some more work to do. I have to modify some of the reds on the model, do some more enamel and oil work on the silver, and then I'll be done, I think. So he's soon there. And that'll be the first Space Marine I've painted in quite a while.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Who would want to paint many space marines?
um, but overall, like the silver, I feel is. I think if I'd want to make a larger force of Space Marines, doing something with like the Iron Snakes or something would be. I feel it would be a pretty good choice because I could relatively quickly paint a bunch of them and they would look pretty good. And then if I just spent a little extra time on certain small details like the eye lenses and shoulder pads and stuff, I think they would look nice.
Yeah, nah, I certainly agree with that. Yeah, I don't know. It seems to me that the chat box isn't updating. It might just not be.
It
Yeah,
might not only be updating on Twitch.
that's
Maybe.
possible.
Yeah, so maybe that got messed up.
Pretty neat. Pretty neat.
It kind of seems like that's what it is. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nothing ever works quite right, but I mean, I guess at least the chat is
It's partially
like
working.
the YouTube thing is at least working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. Eric, you're still working on the Evangelion model, is that right?
Yeah, nah, assembling another like real grade Bandai model. And this one's Ava Unit 1 from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
That's
And
missing its shoulder things, right?
yeah, that's the only thing that other than like some weapons and stuff, just has like shoulder pads that need to be assembled. So it's largely done. And I feel of all the, I mean, admittedly, I haven't assembled that many of Bandai models, but I feel this one's been the one that I've been impressed with the most. Whereas, like, I assembled the real grade Sazabi, it's like a Universal Sensory Char's counterattack sort of large suit, which was another real grade
Yeah.
that people uh, suggested was one of the best kind of real grade and just one of the best Gundam models in general. But I feel this one is even nicer than that.
Well, I mean, I guess the Sazabi's a few years old now, so
It
I
is
think
older. I think
as a general rule of thumb, as they
get
continue
nicer
to
and nicer.
release more and more of the kits, they get nicer and nicer. Hey, nice
But
to
it
have you,
just-
Johnny.
Yeah, but it just has a lot nice articulation. But I feel the color separation is particularly nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And they did some really impressive like dual injection sort of stuff for various parts. Like the little horn on his head is primarily purple, but they're like little green stripes, and that was actually like, I guess, a dual injection thing, that it was injected into a single sprue. The same with it's his kind of on right below his shoulders. There's like a green portion with some silverish gray that was also like dual injected into the same part. And I feel it's like really cool looking on the sprues, and it's neat that they are able to do that, because it is just another thing removing kind of the necessity to paint it to like look particularly nice. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's cool. I think it came with some just stickers, like a whole bunch of stickers. Now I don't really want to put them on, but I ordered a set of like kind of third party water slide transfers or decals. And I think I might try to put them on it. I'll probably just spray the model with like a matte varnish lightly. And then, although I guess maybe matte varnish sort of stuff makes putting on decals harder. I don't know.
Because it doesn't have like a smooth surface anymore then.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, my guess is it wouldn't matter that much, but I guess I should read into it a little bit more, because it's been a long time since I've ever worked with decals, and I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know if they're pre-cut Because aren't some decals pre-cut?
Some are. It
That you
depends. Yeah, it depends on who makes them.
that you can cut like at a slightly larger piece, but then when you put them in water, it slides off and is cut
Mhm.
closer. Like the ones I got, I don't know if they are.
I mean, the last
So-
ones I used were Games Workshop ones years and years ago, and they certainly were not like that.
So you had to like
You had to
cut them
physically
out
cut it
yourself,
out.
right?
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe even Games Workshop has upped their detail game. I don't know. I was gonna say I doubt it, but I wouldn't know.
Looking at the thing, it does. Where's this? Oh, it might be different. Some of them it looks like are individually cut. I don't know if these ones are.
Has anyone in the chat used decals recently? From
Yeah,
any company? Probably not.
Yeah.
I think on certain things, I think they work out pretty well, like Space Marines and stuff like that. Depending on what it is you're doing, they work pretty well. Like all of the numbers and numerals and stuff, oftentimes it's probably easier just to use decals, because then it's easier to center whatever it is you're working on, or I would imagine. Yeah, so that's what we've been working on. Greg, do you have how's stuff going with you?
I opened the box of a high grade Gundam kit and started putting together a small amount of it, but so very little. So I didn't really do anything on that front. I put up another song on my SoundCloud account. I guess we'll still call it a song, but it's still noise stuff, so
That's cool.
noise, not music. Noise, not music.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if I have anything else interesting to say. No.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I guess I could also mention I've done a little bit more work on the Zote model that I think I talked about maybe like 2 weeks ago. I'm about at the point where I need to start filling in all of the different seams and stuff on the model. For those of you who hadn't heard or seen any of that, the new plastic Zote model, it's a really nice model. It's well detailed. The plastic and stuff is nice. It's cast pretty well, but partially due to how big the model is, the model, you assemble it in a multitude of different pieces that form what's largely just a hollow model. And normally Games Workshop, particularly in more recent kits, has done a good job of hiding any areas where two pieces come together. And even if they don't hide them, most of the time they fit together in such a way that the seam present after you glue the halves together isn't very bad. On the Zote model, they are big, they are noticeable, and they look bad. So, the model still looks cool, but if you don't go back and use some form of modeling putty, or use an excessive amount of plastic glue to melt everything and then sand everything clean, it will not look good when you're painting it. Oh, Meandering Shade wants to know about your noise music, Greg. Can you send me a link to your SoundCloud account? I should be able, with a little luck, bring it up without too much of an issue.
I should be able to paste it in the Twitch chat as well.
That's the way.
So yeah, so my SoundCloud thing, my account's just GM Wire, so for Greg Michael Wire. But my project's called Persistent Self-Abuse. So it has to be a little bit morbid when it comes to unpleasant noise. So if you click on each of the tracks, I have a description of when I recorded the song and like what I used to record it. And I feel like that's largely just for me, such that if I want to try to replicate some of the bad sounds, I can see exactly what I did. So I'm using a Behringer, I think it's an 8-channel mixer, and have a bunch of patch cables that I'm for some of them patching inputs to outputs to make feedback loops. But I also have a little synth called the Minimal Drone that just makes drones that I either hook up to it like a distortion pedal or like a delay pedal to just modulate the bad sound. And well, there you can see a picture of the mixer with some of the stuff set up on all those cables. All those cables for glorious static. But so thanks for being interested. But mind you, it's not melodic or easy listening.
But that's fine.
Yeah. I want to try to maybe record some stuff, like record some sound and then run that through a distortion pedal or something. What sound I would record, I don't know.
The dryer or the washing machine?
I mean, I could do that. Or the sound of running water.
Mm-hmm.
The washing machine, because I always have stuff in the washing machine.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, that's cool. And yeah, I think the idea of just putting some notes in about the things you use to create the songs, that's a good idea. Do you have like a little notebook or whatever that you could get a cute little like moleskin or something? And
that's a probably good idea. I guess Meandering Shade, if your friend's into noise, like maybe they make their own noise. And I'm still very new to the whole thing. So perhaps what I'm making isn't particularly good, but I'm having fun with it. So I guess that's what's important.
Yeah. It's all a learning process and everyone starts out at a different like level, and
I put a lot of effort into making it sound like shit.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. Important.
Well, sometime, Greg, we'll have to, like, for some of our, any, like, Inc. 28 events or something, we could create some, like, unlistenable music to, like, accompany some of the different war bands and other stuff like that.
Yeah,
I feel it's sort of just like an ambient sounds that are just sort of unsettling and such. Like, I feel it's listenable, but it's not like,
if you're going into
it's
it
not a pop song.
you want to hear a cool rock and roll jam or something, it's not that.
Yeah, it's not that.
But that's fine. It shouldn't be that.
Yeah.
It's not what you're trying to achieve. No, but that's good. So yeah, continue to check back if you're at all interested into it, and listen to what Greg has there and like the new stuff that he puts up whenever
I
he
guess I
does.
can say the name persistent self-abuse. It's supposed to talk a little bit about. So I have pretty bad obsessive compulsive disorder, which I developed in graduate school, and has been a continual struggle. And I kind of liken that to kind of something like a persistent abuse that I keep putting myself into, because it's to some extent it's just a hormonal imbalance, I guess, in the brain. But it is hard for me not to think that it's kind of my fault that I don't have more willpower to kind of push against it. So that was kind of the idea behind the name. And I'll probably try to explore like some of my struggles with OCD through the noise, but whether you'll be able to get that out of it, perhaps you won't. But, you know.
Yeah. Maybe it'll help you work through some of the stuff as well too. We'll see.
Oh yeah, so meandering shit. Dungeon synth and drone and all that dark ambient stuff. I like a lot of that too. And I wouldn't mind to eventually maybe incorporate some of that style into what I'm doing, but I'm not really musically inclined at the moment. So, I mean, maybe it can eventually work into that. But I think I would be most interested in making kind of ambient, more backgroundy stuff rather than just a wall of harsh static all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I guess I would be interested in some of the noise stuff that your friend's been doing too. You can find that out for me. But perhaps we can go back to talking about the Warhammers.
Oh yeah, those exciting Warhammers.
Yes, I don't know. What in the Warhammers is exciting to us? Is there something we can talk
I
about?
like that little picture. We'll make you one of the Ultramarine with the shopping cart.
Yeah, I
And,
feel that's the best. This might be my favorite part about the new game.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I know, like, I've heard lots of people online complaining about the little cartoon images and stuff and saying that it, like...
Maybe they think cheapens the.
Yeah, or that it, like,
Not
lessens...
serious enough and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, that... You could certainly make some of those arguments and stuff, but, like...
It's separate from the actual lore. Like, that's just.
Yeah, I mean...
Cute images. I mean,
I guess
I
some
love that
some
stuff.
also complain that, like, oh, they're trying to dumb it down so, like, kids think it's cool and stuff, and, like, I don't think anyone would, like, I don't know, that just...
Well, it wasn't cutesy images like that that got us into Warhammer years ago,
No.
I guess. But I mean, admittedly, if I had seen these images, I would have liked them then too, because they're great.
Nah,
Well,
yeah,
so what...
I would have also.
What I would almost like to do is convert a Necron Warrior, rework his head, fill in his little straight mouth, and make it, like, curved upwards like a smile.
A little derpy,
Yeah,
like
would be
semi-apathetic smile. Would
Wouldn't
be funny.
that be great? And it would also be interesting, like, even if you just filled in, like, the little teeth marks, it would just be a straight line. Like, I think that would actually, would be kind of neat.
Yeah, that's true. It could be funny.
Yeah, so I feel maybe to celebrate new 40k, I'll convert like a Necron Warrior, and
That would be funny.
that might be something I would do.
That would
Play
be
around
nice.
with his little mouth, the mouth slit, and either make it into like a little smile or a frown or anything like that. So I don't really think I've seen people do that, but like I think it would be funny. It would be the type of thing where you could very easily just not notice it, but if you did, you'd probably
Yeah,
it would really make you smile.
smile like the Necron.
And
An
I'd
impish
probably
little
also make
smile.
him such that he's standing up prim and proper, like this one here,
Mm-hmm.
patiently waiting in line
Yeah.
to get a copy of Indomitus or whatever. Yeah, Indomitus. As a matter
Well, I
of
guess, I
fact,
mean,
I was gonna say just a funny quip. So this new game is called Indomitus. This might be the best name for a new boxed game yet. It's not just like Dark Heresy or Grim Future or like, them just pulling together cool words for, or Shadow Pair, you know?
Shadows pair. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, actually, Mandarin Shade mentions here about can't really get too excited for it. And then it sold out and still didn't much care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the funny thing. Yeah, I'm not too bothered by it. But it is funny that they made kind of not a huge deal, but mentioned like, oh, we have so many copies of it, and it's still sold out, in like 30 minutes whenever they went live on the different online stores. I mean, with that said, I think a lot of hobby shops will probably get a ton of them. Probably not the GW ones, because if
No, the
they never do,
GW brick and mortar stores never do.
but
But
like the
also,
other ones will
well,
probably have a ton of them.
well, I know before the before it actually went up for pre-order, I think they made a statement that anyone could buy as many as 6 copies of the game, and I think people got upset with that, saying like, "Oh, you're gonna run out." And then I think before you could buy it, they reduced that to 3. So it's just kind of a weird thing. Like if they tell you that there's a limit to 3 per person, that really gives one the impression that they just have a truckload of them. And
But even with the 1 to 3 limit, they still sold out. But I mean, I guess still, yeah, a large portion of them are probably going to other stores. But yeah, so I mean, I
or
guess
people just
ultimately it.
people bought a ton of them to try and sell on eBay and shit like
Well,
that.
but even that would be hard, though, right? You could buy 3, and then you'd have to
Yeah,
use like a different
yeah.
account or something.
But
So,
regardless, people were pissed for a little while that they weren't
I mean,
able to
it's
get it.
business as usual. It like always happens. They spend for a larger thing like this. They spend like over a month really hyping it, and
Hmm.
then they're not there.
But
Which,
it's nice. Yeah, it's nice to see that they're putting something up where you could order one if you didn't get one. So like that's good.
I mean, I guess that to me then puts up this odd thing where just like, oh, I didn't get one like I wanted. I guess I could do this made to order thing, but maybe I just want to wait and see if I can drive around or call some local
Hmm.
shops to see if they have them. Because even if they do the made to order thing, like
It's
that's not
probably gonna
going to
be a
be quick.
while
And
before you'd actually get one.
then like you'll probably have already lost interest in it.
No,
I mean,
I agree.
admittedly, I guess it's generally been considered that the box is like a good value in the sense that if you kind of try to price it based on like, oh, how much a box of Necron Warriors costs or a tactical squad, like a Primaris squad, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I think some estimates being like over $500 worth of stuff. based on like GW prices of like a character model being $35, stuff like that. And it's $200. So, I mean, I guess if like, you are excited about playing this, you do want more Necrons, whatever, like $200 isn't that huge, but
I,
for us, when we don't have any huge calling for any of it, like $200 is still a lot of money.
I don't know. I feel of the two forces, the Necrons, I feel, got the better end of the deal. Like, I feel like if you were starting a Space Marine army, like, I feel there's a good chance you would never want the ones with bolt pistols and chain swords. And then there's a good chance that bikes aren't really viable, so you wouldn't want them. The veteran squad are probably overpriced for what they do, so you probably wouldn't want them. And then
Yeah, I think that is true. I could see a bunch of them not being quite what you want, or like, oh, but in actuality, the bikes can get melta guns, and none of these have them, or stuff like that. Whereas I feel the Necron Warriors, they have two options, but I think you can do both of those options, and I don't think the Necrons are going to have some major change that now Necrons Warrior squads can get special weapons, stuff like that. So
yeah.
I feel the Necron stuff seems like a better core of an army and stuff that you would want to use or would have use for. I suppose, admittedly, though, if you already play Necrons,
You probably have
you have that
tons
stuff.
of
So I mean, maybe, but for me, and even if I had a bunch of Necrons or whatever, I would still be excited to get like updated warriors that, maybe look a little bit better, that aren't as same-ish.
yeah.
So it would still, I guess, be exciting to me. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do we want to make fun of some of the Necromunda stuff? I think we've already done this before, but
Yeah, so I guess this week's their time to show the Necromunda stuff and like a weekly post. And they essentially just showed us the Escher models that were revealed a while back, but maybe I guess have some rule related stuff. And who knew, but the models still look bad. And I guess there's some artwork that's kind of cool looking.
Not
But
this one.
Oh, these are finally being released.
I don't think they're finally being released. No, it's
Wow.
just, I feel like every week one of the days, I think they rotate. Like 1 week is Necromont, like every week has a specialist game post. Like maybe like the first Tuesday of the month, it's Forge World, and they show some unexciting Horus Heresy stuff. Then the second Tuesday is Necromunda. Then the third one is Titanicus, and fourth is Aeronautica, or it's something to that effect. So this week was Necromunda show. They showed us the same models that are uninspired and gave us some rule stuff that
I really
I
don't
guess
like them.
if you played it, maybe it would have some value to you and would be exciting. But to me, it's more just a reminder of like, wow, these are not great looking. Whereas like the Goliath models, I thought were pretty good, but
Yeah, these are awful. I really don't like them. Ugh. Oh, Meandering Shade, he kind of likes the melee marine unit. I mean, I like them too. Like, I feel like a bolt pistol, chainsword type thing, that's kind of one of the classic, like, archetypes for Space Marines and stuff. So, like, certainly, at least visually, they
I
look
think
nice.
it'll be useful for like us, for example, if we wanted to convert a Space Marine with that like that weapon loadout or whatever. Like, I think it could be useful, but I don't know if like the general gamer would be excited to have it. But who knows? If they're good enough, pointed well enough, I'm sure people will be excited.
Yeah, people are already probably have already worked out a lot of that stuff. Well, how long until they release a new Space Marine Codex that has the
That'll probably
StarCraft
be
2
soon.
bunker?
It'll probably be soon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so the
but these
Necromunda
Asher
models are
models, I
awful.
don't like them. Their pistols are large and stupid looking. But like I don't know, their poses are kind of wonky, and they to me they just don't have a level of finesse. Everything looks sort of bulky and weird, and
Their
just
feet,
not.
like, don't make sense.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan.
Looked at them too
Not a fan.
much. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
They talked a little bit about the Crusade, like narrative-driven campaign-esque stuff.
Yeah, no. So that and I kind of mentioned earlier in this that that stuff was something that I am at least vaguely interested to see what they're doing, which would be a reason why we'd like get a digital version of the rule book that they don't seem to be selling yet. But they've had I think 2 posts this week talking about the Crusade stuff, and it sounds interesting. Like I think initially every player at like a start of a campaign or whatever you get like you have to make a list of 50 power level, which I think is about 1,000 points, and you make them kind of write it on like a little roster, and then for each of the units you have like a card that you write the information down on, and that's
Okay.
your core army. And then I think the first mission you would play, you actually just take a selection of that 50 power level thing, but only take 25 points of it, like power
Okay.
level points, and use that in some games. And then I think as you play them, the models will gain experience and other things that you can use to get abilities and whatnot. And like I think your leader, for example, doesn't start out with a warlord trait. You have to like
Oh.
buy those with these requisition points that I think you
Mm-hmm.
get separately from experience. But that allows you to, I think, like you have these points, you could give just a regular character a warlord trait, even if it's not your warlord.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think some of that stuff, it sounds like it's somewhat robust and not really paper thin. The point that I think it that I think could be fun
Mm-hmm.
is you could make a relatively small force and then keep playing with it and doing stuff with it. And the fact they can actually get other abilities and things, I think that would have more weight in creating a narrative in your mind than a lot of the
Yeah.
other stuff we've seen. So like I'm still interested to see more of that. I think they suggest they're gonna have additional posts where they kind of maybe show a battle report or whatnot.
Yeah. Nice to have you back,
It's all
Johnny.
so I think I like that. And I don't know. I guess maybe this is just another separate way because there's also the maybe combat patrol sort of thing, which is like 500 point sort of games. And I wonder if how they relate to this. They're probably separate things, which is this is also like separate from matched
Mm-hmm.
sort of competitive play. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how that stuff plays out, mainly just as a general interest in rules writing and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that. I mean, I still kind of feel like maybe I wouldn't do it or play it, but I mean, it's a
it's
new thing for the game. Oh,
it's
I
good
guess
to
that
hear they're
that
kind of
reminds me, they they have an app now that's gonna have the rules and whatnot in it. That I
oh,
think if you buy a physical copy of a book, it will give you a download code such that you can get it on that same app. But
interesting.
the main interesting thing about it is that you can pay a monthly fee
Oh boy.
And
Get
if you-
access to all that cool content.
yeah,
Hmm.
I think it gives other different stuff, but one of the things that I think it does is gives you like a list builder thing, like an army builder like thing, among some other things.
I wonder if it'll function
I'm not-
well. That's
Oh, yeah,
interesting.
so-
But so you would almost think if there was a monthly thing, was it $10 a month? Like that should give you access
I think
to.
it's like £4. I just put a thing.
Okay.
Just do actually. This is unrelated, but I feel like I'm hearing some echo in. Do other people hear that, or is that just me?
I don't know if I hear
I
anything.
don't think I hear it.
Okay. I thought I heard kind of echo of my own voice back through the other channels, but maybe that's not the case.
No. Okay, so I was gonna say, so here, like, if you're a subscriber, bonus offer, all the rules from 8th edition codexes. Wait, well, valid. Like, what does that mean? Like, if they don't just give you all the rules for all the codexes and you're paying a monthly fee, that just seems outrageous. Doesn't it?
Well, so it
What's the
seems
app called?
they don't know.
Is it available yet?
40K the app. It seems.
Oosh.
It'll be a game
Well, so
changer.
no, but I guess that to me suggests that in the beginning, before they release new codexes, if you pay this £4 fee, you get kind of all the rules. But if not, you or whenever they update all the books and such, then it'll be different, and they will only get them if you buy the physical and get a code.
Hmm. Okay.
Which I don't know. That seems like so. With that in mind, what do you actually get for paying this? The ability to use their army builder?
And so yeah, you get their army builder, and we do think you get the rules for the codexes too as they're released.
No, you don't get that.
What the fuck are you paying a monthly fee for then?
Like
To
what?
reference rules fast, whatever that means, and mainly to make construct army lists. But that's coming soon, so it's not even going to be out initially. Because you notice the only way I think you get to access the codex books is if you have purchased them
Yeah, that's probably
and get
it.
the codes. But before, at the early time points, most books won't be out, so they
Mhm.
will just give you all the old books. So that's somewhat nice, I guess. But in 6 months, when a lot of the books are out, then you get nothing.
That's kind of
seems.
like why. To me, it would make more sense if they just made an app, and if you paid some flat fee, and you could use their army builder. And then you could, as you buy new codexes, you could put them in your thing and it would be fine. Or they could have a monthly thing where if you pay monthly, you just have access to the army builder and you can look at the different rules for the different codexes. Because like it just seems like why would you pay like monthly for.
Well, maybe that army builder is going to be the best army builder anyone's ever seen.
Yeah, I guess if like the whole app is like really well designed and works really well, like I could, and you played a lot, I could see it being kind of nice. But
This
I
is
don't
hilarious. Yeah, so
know.
they're saying that it's future proofed, like backwards compatible. Like, so if you're a subscriber, you get all the previous books, but then then it's like it's also future proof too. As new codexes are released, older ones will be removed and replaced using the code you get when you buy a print version. So like
So it's like, but
it's sort
Future
of
proof if you buy the new books.
yeah.
like it doesn't
Because
even make sense.
because
Like,
the
what
old
the
ones
fuck?
will then disappear as new ones come out, but you won't have them unless you buy them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's a little. That's kind of bad. Well, actually, and so look at this picture of these Ultramarines here. Man, they look terrible. Don't they look bad?
yeah, it's not good art.
So yeah, I don't know. The idea of them having like a nice app, like that's I think a good idea, but I sort of question how they're going about it. Like it better be really nice. Like if it's really nice,
What's it called? Like Warhammer 40,000, the app.
it's not actually even
Yeah.
that. It's called Warhammer 40,000.
The app.
It's will launch in the next few weeks, it says.
So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what it's like.
Yeah, and what other people think about it, but it seems like it's, or to me it doesn't sound like a very good value.
No.
No.
I mean, I suppose if you're playing all this competitive whatever, maybe that's a good value, but even that I don't know, because I feel people already have their books, they make play aids and things of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
and just looking on your tiny phone to find those rules, I don't know. And they already have solutions for building your armies.
Yeah, I
And
guess Games Workshop, they need to make this really nice. And then even then, people will probably question it.
yeah.
But I guess at least they're trying.
To make money.
Yeah. But well, I guess they tell it's somewhere they say like it's only like so much a month. It's like less than a paintbrush per month for all your rules in the palm of your hand. But it's not that. I mean, I guess they say all your rules, so meaning the ones you purchased.
Yeah, but so that's kind of bullshit. Like, why
Yeah.
are you paying an additional money every month? Well, I guess, but if you've already purchased them, you can get it on the free version. So, yeah, I don't know. It just
That's kind of
seems
weird.
weird. But it's good they're getting into the space more. Because, like, I feel this is something they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, friends, I think I'm going to bed. Like, I haven't gotten much sleep in the last couple days, and I should try to get sleep.
Yeah, that's
So it was
good.
nice talking to everybody. Keep on rocking in the free world. Keep that water out of everyone your basements, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Certainly.
But talk to y'all later.
Yeah. See you, Greg.
See ya. Yeah, so that app, I'm not excited
It's a
about
little
that.
cringy.
But I guess it's one of those things. Other people will use it and let people know if it's worth a damn.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, for the sort of stuff we would do, I can't imagine it being worth a damn.
Yeah.
Just because it's just not stuff that we would use.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to hear the general opinion for people who do play more and if it is worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I guess it would also be interesting. How will it work on, like, like an iPad, for example? Will it be optimized both for
Mm-hmm.
a tablet and a phone? And if it is, then that could be nice to it having, digital larger versions of the stuff to pull up and quickly search for rules and whatnot. and it could search through all the codex books at one time without you
Mhm.
having to open separate ones. Like stuff like that, I guess, could be useful. But I find it hard to imagine that they would optimize it well to actually do that. But
Yeah.
maybe I'm just being pessimistic about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, I guess we personally probably won't see, but we'll probably hear what other people have to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
true.
it is what it is.
Hmm.
Also, Eric, what in like the coming few weeks, what do you think you're going to be working on hobby-wise?
Um, well, I want to, as I mentioned, finish this Ava, but then I don't know. Maybe I'll actually go back and try to paint that harvest lighter that I've been talking about for a while.
That would be great.
Like um, right when I was assembling it, I was kind of thinking about painting it, and I decided I wanted to try to get some of these like Tamiya weathering master little things.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm holding it up right. If people
You know,
can,
we can see it.
yeah. Um, just because I thought they might be fun to experiment because I feel I want to weather the thing. And I ordered like the whole set, like all 8 different kinds Tamiya makes, just because I found the set like that and it was, I don't know, $20-$30. Like, whatever, I'll do that. And I did. And then, like, 3 months later, I still hadn't gotten anything. So, or maybe even more than that. So it was like a long time. It's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I'll just reorder the one that I wanted most with like the rust and soot. And I did that and got it like a week ago. And yesterday, the
Did
whole
all of the
set
other
came in the
ones run
mail.
out? Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah, so I haven't used any of them yet. I think I have 2 of them. Um, I haven't used them. They look like they'd be pretty nice.
yeah. So I feel I'll try to use one of them. I think people sort of recommend when using them not to use the little applicator tool
Okay.
and like use Q-tips and stuff like that, just
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to clean the little applicator tool and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I finally got them, and now I guess I have an extra of this one that I don't know. I don't foresee going through all this stuff, but yeah,
They're in a nice, convenient, and compact little compartment, like container,
yeah,
so
they're
that's
nice.
good.
They're nice and easy to transport and such. But so I guess, yeah, hopefully I'll go and work on that and maybe try to use one of these. Maybe also if I experiment with some decals on this Ava, I will see if I can use some decals on the lighter as well. I mean, I don't know what sort of decals I would use, but if I could find some generic Imperium ones or something like that.
I mean, I feel like a lot of like Roman numerals and like warning decals and stuff. Like you could probably scour around for even decals and stuff for like Gundam models and stuff. Would probably work pretty well. You have some of this like Tamiya
Yeah,
Mark Fit decal solution, right?
that's right.
Yeah, so that's what I eventually will try and start using that.
Yeah, I think this stuff is helpful for getting the decals to kind of stretch and like really adhere and over kind of curves and stuff if it's not flat.
Yeah.
Vox mentions that the ad mech have some good transfers. That's a
Oh,
good
that's a
point.
good idea.
I think I should have. I mean, there's a chance I threw those out, but I think I still have.
I used to have like a little box that I had kept all the decals that I had. I don't know where that is anymore.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like now most of the time I just end up just freehanding whatever it is if I want to paint something. But I guess depending on what it is,
Or if
using
you want to do it a
decals
lot.
would sort of make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that. And it just seems like something like a skill or something I feel I should,
Practice.
learn how to do and practice because I feel it could be useful. And like I think decals in general have come a long way since like,
Mhm.
the 20 or so years ago when we first tried to do anything with them. And there's a lot more general knowledge of how to use them and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Well, I think that certain places like you can actually sort of design your own decals and like have them printed and like made for you. So
Hmm.
some of that could actually be kind of neat. Like for instance, this Iron Snake Space Marine that I'm painting, like I freehanded the little viper or serpent on his shoulder guard. Like, so in the future, if I'd ever paint another one of these, none of them would. The snake will always be different, probably vastly different between each
Yeah,
model. Um,
I think that's fine.
yeah, but so
I was thinking about for doing decals and stuff. Well, it's because I saw someone that like does a lot of Gundam model sort of stuff. I saw that they like for all their airbrushing stuff, they ordered like 10 Iwata Neos, like Iwata's cheapest airbrush, and
hmm
just have them labeled like this airbrush is for this clear coat, this one's for a satin clear coat, this is for a varnish, and all these things. And I thought it
that's
kind of
kind of
took me
crazy.
aback that they would do that.
You'd have a separate airbrush for almost like each color.
Yeah, but
Where would you put them all?
yeah. But it made me think like, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't want a ton, but I kind of think maybe it would be a good idea to buy a somewhat like just an Iwata Neo because it looks like they're like $65 or something. Just get one of those and use it primarily for, like varnishing and such because those are kind of a pain. They're kind of hard to clean out and
hmm
you have to like clean it immediately. And if you're trying to varnish a lot of stuff, it like can sort of start to solidify and dry on the sides of like the gravity feed cup and such, and it can be kind of a pain to get rid of and this and that. And it seems like maybe that wouldn't be a terrible investment at some point. And at
Yeah.
least now, like the one I have is a pretty small or a pretty small needle size, and this is would be a larger one. So like it seems like maybe it wouldn't be the worst investment. I mean, I still wouldn't do it now because I still paint so little, but
I don't even
yeah,
know
ultimately
which one
it
I
got me to
have.
think about.
What if you had 5 airbrushes? Yeah, I mean the one I have. What is this? An eclipse. I have an eclipse, and this is the one I've used for maybe like the past 4 years. The same needle. Um, Mind you, I don't really use it for too much, aside from like priming and a few base coats, and maybe giving like a clear coat.
Yeah, so I have an HPC Plus
That looks
is
a lot fancier than the one I have.
is the one. I mean, it's pretty similar, but I think the needle size is like point 0.2 or something,
Hmm.
whereas I think yours might be 0.35 or something. So
Okay.
I guess it's supposed to be, you can get finer detail and whatnot, which admittedly is not something I'm
But
taking advantage of because I'm
yeah.
largely just doing, base coats and some rough highlights or stuff like that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably spent more money than I should have for an introductory airbrush.
I guess you have to start somewhere, and um,
Does the inside of like the cup of yours, does it like, cause I think it's like, there's like a coating, like, and you can kind of see inside of it, some of the coatings come off and it is kind of a coppery color. Is yours
oh
doing that?
yeah, oh yeah.
I think that's
It's a
just the
little
nature.
hard to see, but like there's certainly discoloration and other
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah, mine's like that
Part
too.
that's probably some of that's due to the fact that maybe I didn't clean it as well as I could have, but
I mean, I like pretty much from the beginning always just used Iwata's cleaner, thinking like, oh, that'll be good.
mm,
And well, so Johnny says he has two Iwata Neos that he uses, one for oils and enamels, and okay. Yeah, I guess I do have a shitty like $20 airbrush. I could go and I could get that out and see how that works. Cause like it's probably like a master's airbrush, something like that.
mm-hmm.
And it it's like basically just an eclipse or something. Like you can see like all the parts are the same, like it's the same basic thing.
Just not machined as well, probably. Yeah. I mean, I feel some of that stuff might be okay just to practice with and get used to it. Like, I mean, I feel this one, I don't even remember how much I spent for it at the time, but it's held up pretty well. Like, I don't know, I have. Do you, like, I actually, between each color, I physically take out the needle and clean it all. Do you do that?
Yeah, I usually do that.
Okay. I have like some of their cleaning stations and stuff like that, but
Yeah, no, I usually do that.
yeah, I mean, I guess that you sort of have to be careful because anytime you take the needle out, you're sort of running the risk of you like dropping it or something and screwing up the tip.
Yeah, that is true.
I've yet to really do that yet, despite using it for I think like 4 years, but I think I bought an extra replacement tip just in case, but I haven't. Knock on wood, I haven't run into that yet.
When you for the eclipse, are there any like little uh O-rings in it?
Like where? Like
Like
there's
Teflon
one.
O-rings anywhere?
There's like if you take the little head off,
Mm-hmm.
there's like at least a single one like right in there.
Okay. Because mine, there's one at kind of at the back where the the little sheath is that you don't even really have to have on, and it like
Yes,
almost
there's one
immediately
here.
started to degrade. almost
Oh,
like how rubber bands kind of oxidize
yeah.
or in
Wait,
it.
where
Just
was it? Like back?
it's I'm holding it up.
Oh,
It's part. There's not one at the front.
oh, there is actually one back here. I actually didn't even look at it, and it does look like it's sort of degrading.
Yeah.
So I should
So
probably replace that.
yeah, I just wondered. Mine's kind of degrading, and
I mean, in some regards, like if you were using the airbrush, you wouldn't even need to use this piece.
oh yeah, I almost always just take it off. It's easier to mess with the needle and such. Like this one has a little additional stopper that you can scroll down such that it forces you so you can't pull the needle back as far, which I think could be useful if
Hmm.
you have to do a lot of stuff and you want to be consistent about it. But
I guess what I need to do sometime is start like a project that I don't care that much about and just try and do as much as I can with the airbrush because some of that I feel that's I need to do more of that if I'm gonna become
yeah,
more comfortable just in general with the airbrush and improve like my like aim and coordination and stuff with it because at this point I feel it's pretty shit. Mine's pretty shit.
yeah. I mean, mine's not.
Here's the Zote model that I'm working on. For those of you like I've mentioned this a couple times, but the new Zote model, wow, it's great. It is just it has tons of really bad seams where you glue pieces together that you really need to fill in with modeling putty. Or, I guess, use an excessive amount of plastic glue to melt the pieces and then go back in and sand and scrape away at everything.
Yeah,
But there it is. So I don't know, once I finish that Space Marine, maybe I'll finish assembling the Zote, and then I think I'll go back to painting Eldar and finishing that Bone Reaper model of mine. That's what I need to do.
yeah. That's true.
But yeah, so that's what's in store for me. Yeah. So I don't know, what are you thinking, Eric? Maybe we could soon call an end to the stream. I don't know if I have a whole lot more that I need to talk
Yeah, I
about
think.
tonight.
Yeah, I don't have much.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I guess yeah. Then I think we're pretty good. Thanks everybody for coming here and chat and talking to us about all the stuff we're rambling about. The new edition of 40K, airbrushes, painting Space Marines, decals, all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's always good.
Hopefully everyone's staying safe in these kind of interesting and trying times. So yeah, keep safe, keep on enjoying the hobby and all that other stuff. Keep your basements free of water, if at all
If you can.
possible. Yeah. Um, and I guess we'll talk to you again all pretty soon. And hopefully
Yep.
by then, Eric, you'll finish your little Evangelion model, and I'll finish this Iron Snake Space Marine.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep, thanks everybody. And until next time, over and out.